I think you nailed it. It's just continuing that consistency of prevention and using that brand, because we really want recreationists to see that logo and get triggered into remembering all I've got to do is use this boot brush. And I think Belle has one she can showcase for us. Like, really, that when you use that boot brush, you're preventing the spread of seeds down the trails or in your car to the next area, even spraying the tires on your RVs or campers, however you recreate outside. And we've got some really great partnerships going right now with major land organizations such as the National Park Service, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, U.S. Forest Service, and I did mention the Continental Divide Trail Coalition. A lot of these groups see the value in the simplicity of this campaign and the simplicity of preventing that spread. It's just a really exciting, really easily understood opportunity for our recreationists to contribute again to that larger scale effort that we see going on all of these lands to preserve and protect them for the future.
Welcome to Over Pint, where we focus on the fast-paced and ever-changing world of marketing, told through the eyes of 3 industry veterans with over 75 years of experience in the trenches. That makes us sound old, yikes. No theory here. This is real-world practical experience told to you by those that have been there, and that includes our guests. So grab a pint of your favorite local brewski or whatever your choice of drink may be, and join us for the show. As always, I'm joined by my co-host, Pat McGovern, new business director at Acedia, an award-winning digital shop here in Milwaukee. Brian Meehan, president of Celtic, a full-service advertising agency proudly headquartered here in the Brew City. And I'm Kurt Lingle. I'm vice president of Celtic. So before we get going, I guess I want to ask if anyone does have something. This is called Over a Pint. We talk about the world of marketing, but we do it over a pint. Does anyone have something in their pint glass to share? We'll go around the horn. Pat, what do you have?
Belle, I don't know. We can't see inside that coffee mug, Belle. I'm not quite sure what's in there.
I'm guessing it's coffee. That's okay. Your secret's safe with us, Belle. Guys, I have got to get. I love this beer. It's the Cream City Bricks. I've been drinking it for a number of shows here. I got to get some new stuff, but that's what I'm having, a cream ale. It's delicious in 3D.
Krista?
I've just got my lemonade to celebrate the summer season, so.
Oh, that works.
That works.
I got Rich. A Schmittix.
Oh, there we go.
Rich?
I have water. I would probably fall asleep. I drank too much beer this weekend, and then prior to this, I was in Wisconsin last week. And
nice.
Y'all drank some beer out there. I had a lot of spotted cow and some Lineys. So I'm on a little bit of a sober train for the next 4 days.
Makes sense.
I am drinking a Fuel Cafe coffee stout from a lakefront brewery. So cheers, everyone. Welcome to the show.
Cheers.
Cheers.
If you need New Glarus, we could smuggle it across the border to you, but it'll cost you.
Oh, it's so good. That's one of the first things I asked for, and the people I was with already had a whole bunch waiting for me, so it was great.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
So today is going to be fun. We're pumped about this one. At our agency, we work with clients in a variety of categories: financial, manufacturing, tourism, education, but outdoor is a category that not only do we love to work in the space, we just love to play in the space when we're outside of work, whether it's hiking, backpacking, fishing, canoeing. So this is going to be a lot of fun. The North American Invasive Species Management Association is doing some incredible and some very important work. And today we've got Belle Bergner, who is the executive director at the North American Invasive Species Management Association. We got Krista Lutzke, who's the PlayCleanGo program manager at the North American Invasive Species Management Association. And then we've got Rich Hohne, who's the director of marketing at Oboz Footwear out of Montana. So we're excited to have all of you here on the show. This is gonna be a lot of fun, and we're gonna dive right into it. Belle and Chris, I want to start with you. So, kind of a fun question here. I'm at a cocktail mixer, okay, and I'm gonna bump into the two of you, and I just randomly ask you what you do, Give me your elevator speech.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Well, I'll having my PlayCleanGo hat on today. I'll start, and I'll lean on my cocktail buddy Krista to fill in the blanks. So we are a campaign that teaches and reminds outdoor enthusiasts to clean their gear before they head out and when they come out of the trail, of the boat landing, wherever they are, to prevent the spread of invasive species that are unintentionally hitchhiking through our recreational gear.
That's a great response.
Rich,
Um,
I'm gonna ask you the same thing.
I'm gonna.
Wisconsin, one too many spotted cows. And I'm gonna
Yeah.
ask you tonight, what's your elevator speech? Give it to me.
I'm a brand guy and I'm a storyteller. So I'm a guy that works for companies to help fulfill the promise of their inherent story.
Good answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's dive into the brands a little bit. You know, it's like, Rich, you just said it, you're a storyteller. Belle and Krista, the same thing with the two of you. You're telling a story with the PlayCleanGo brand. Brands, like, people have personalities. You know, let's talk about PlayCleanGo for a second. You know, talk about the face and voice of the brand and what that means to the end user that you're trying to communicate your story with. Give us a sense of your personality and what the brand is really all about.
Krista, you want to jump in there first?
Yeah, I can absolutely do that.
Mm.
You know, the recreationist is who we are. However you want to enjoy the outdoors, whichever way you experience it, if you're on the stand-up paddle boards, or if you're hiking in the trails in the backcountry, or even if you're going to your local park, we are the people that love to be outside and really want to do something to help maintain the beauty that we see around us. And we don't really know all of the bad greens versus the good greens, but we know that there's bad greens out there. So PlayCleanGo provides us that opportunity to possibly know the difference between those greens and really the tips and tricks on how to actually prevent the spread of invasive species and contributing to the larger scale efforts that are going on all around us every day.
Krista, quick question for you, just on the heels of that, when we talk about, you know, your mission, what you're doing, you know, when it comes to the topic of invasive species, you know, obviously it's a range of knowledge that the average end user knows about, you know, the topic. With that in mind, how does that impact how you are presenting yourself, your story, getting back to the brand and how you're positioning yourself, you know, because you have to tell it in a certain way. Talk to me a little bit about how you're positioning that so that it's inclusive for everyone's ears.
You know, we like to say that, you know, PlayCleanGo isn't the whole story. We're just a piece of the big story. You know, we like to include ourselves in the conversation where we can partner with other organizations like Leave No Trace, and a piece of that is preventing the spread of invasive species through PlayCleanGo. We have great support through the Continental Divide Trail Coalition, and they're spreading the word of PlayCleanGo along these trail systems of preventing as you're going from ambassador city to ambassador city. It's really taking that personal accountability and knowing that there is an invasive species somewhere. You may not know what it is, but just by cleaning your gear before and after you're enjoying the outdoors is making the biggest impact. It's that simple step that is contributing to a savings of hundreds of thousands of dollars, because prevention is the most cost-effective way of managing invasive species.
Yeah.
Hey, Belle and
Go ahead, Pat.
Belle and Krista, this is for you because I'm really interested in this. Is from your standpoint, what is the biggest challenge that you guys face, or maybe the top 2 or 3? Right? What are those challenges?
The challenge is to get every recreation and natural resource agency to use our same consistent message. It's an opportunity also. We've created the wheel. And what we tell folks is don't recreate that wheel. We've done it for you. Just take our campaign messaging and tools and resources and run with it. Yeah. Krista, what else would you say?
I think you nailed it. It's just continuing that consistency of prevention and using that brand, because we really want recreationists to see that logo and get triggered into remembering all I've got to do is use this boot brush. And I think Belle has one she can showcase for us. Like really that when you use that boot brush, you're preventing the spread of seeds down the trails or in your car to the next area, you know, even spraying the tires on your RVs or campers, however you recreate outside. And we've got some really great partnerships going right now with major land organizations, such as the National Park Service, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, U.S. Forest Service, and I did mention the Continental Divide Trail Coalition. A lot of these groups see the value in the simplicity of this campaign and the simplicity of preventing that spread. It's just a really exciting, really easily understood opportunity for our recreationists to contribute again to that larger scale effort that we see going on all of these lands to preserve and protect them for the future.
You know, full disclosure too, we have had a chance and the privilege to work. Our agency has had a chance to work with Belle and Krista in the Play Clean Grow effort over the past year. And speaking for myself, it's amazing how you just by being exposed, how you learn. And admittedly, over a year ago, my knowledge was very minimal. And now, as I've told Belle and Krista, when I'm out hiking, I have that brush is a staple in my backpack, just like all the other things, my water, my food, first aid, whatever. And, you know, my awareness just in terms of what's around me, how to make sure I'm cleaning before and after, it's gone up. Changing behavior is very hard to do, no matter what it is in life. And this is a hard thing, but it just being exposed has helped, at least for me.
Hey, Kurt. Yeah. I was going to ask a question that Krista brought up. You said partnerships and how those are important for you to spread the word. I also know a lot of outdoor brands that like to partner with nonprofit organizations. So I wanted to kind of bring Rich in on this real quick and just be like, you know, what is the value, Rich, to you partnering with an organization like this or other nonprofit organizations that are out there? What's the motivation for you and what's the value?
Well, I think by the way, I just need to say something. Invasive species have been in my career since 1996. I was just thinking about this. I worked at the Montana State University Biocontrol of Weeds Lab from 1996 to 1999. I'm just going back to all these things. And then I was at Tim's Fishing Products, where I worked on aquatic invasive species, and we got rid of felt in our lines and all this stuff. And I'm just thinking, wow, this is coming back full circle again.
That's cool.
Welcome back.
Yeah. So we're at the lab in Bozeman here at MSU, which is a great research institution and great college. I can remember going on my next trip. I think it was down the Smith River, which is a permitted river here in Montana, beautiful float. And all those beautiful pink flowers and beautiful green flowers were knapweed and leafy spurge. And I can remember being like, whoa, there's a war going on here. And you can sort of see it in nature there. And so I think it's one of those things that's a delicate issue for brands, I think, because you want to promote people to get outside. You don't want them to be terrified that what they're doing is actually being part of possibly destroying native species and not obviously on purpose. But we want people to understand that there is a consequence of being in the outdoors. Now, the positive consequence is having a better life, having a more peaceful disposition, and having more great experiences with your family and your friends, and sort of having these experiences you can't find under a roof. And those are the positive things we speak about. But the things that we have that can also are, you know, trail damage, erosion, and things like invasive species control. So I'm excited to kind of get back into this world that seems to come around every few years for me, and just be an educator. I think when we talk about things like we plant a tree for every shoe sole here at Oboz, and we talk about forest tree gardens in Africa and how we're being impactful there and why that's important. these are things people just don't understand. If you tell them, they understand and they get behind it. That it is not a major tax to carry around a small brush in your bag and just at your car, just brush off your shoes and your socks and other things. It's much harder when you're water, for example. So being on dry land is actually a much more easy thing to do. So I think for us, it allows us to be, we want to be I might use a four-letter word here, which I won't, but be a brand that gives a damn, right? So we want to be that we don't just care about selling shoes into one door and to the consumer or on our website or whatever it may be. We actually care about what happens as a result of using those shoes. And I think this is a great example where we're not going to become the biocontrolled weeds lab that I used to be a part of because we don't have that expertise. You want to look for people that do have that expertise and moreover the people that have the passion. And that's why we're working with PlayCleanGo.
That's great.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about Belle, Krista, and Rich? Talk a little bit about what this relationship is looking like, because obviously there's a number of ways that a brand can support. Talk a little bit maybe about how this Oboz and PlayCleanGo are kind of working together and bringing your message further to life and to more people.
Well, it's pretty serendipitous from my perspective because I've been a longtime Oboz user, especially when I was doing land management work. So when we initially approached each other about helping to spread the word of invasive species, it was just wonderful how we had a similar mission, similar goals, and we just wanted to encourage people to get outdoors, but just remind them that, prevention is really useful for us. And Oboz is helping us by spreading the message to their users, their audience, their community, and vice versa. And it's just really great to see the perspective from their point of view and all the people that follow them on social media and giving us that opportunity to reach them, because this brand started off with all of these land management agencies and really talking to land managers. And we really wanted to engage recreationists in a more meaningful way. And as the brand grows in that reach, we end up growing with a lot of these brands that have, like Oboz, that really want to make a difference. And joining forces is just a logical step to helping preserve and protect our natural resources. And they've connected us with a lot of great local organizations. They've allowed us to go on their social channels and provide a little bit of information on invasive species. And we've made sure we've provided them with boot brushes and invasive species awareness in their area too. So it's been a really good give and take relationship. And I couldn't be prouder or more thrilled than this.
That's great. It's funny when you talk a little bit about that relationship, and then Rich, even prior, you were talking a little bit about the brand, and as you said, a brand that gives a damn, and that it's about much more than just selling footwear. Unlike Krista, I found your brand, or your brand found me a couple years ago for the first time. In fact, before you jumped on, Belle and I were talking a little bit about how the brand was new to us. I had been on vacation a couple years ago, and I came back from my last hike, and the sole of my boot ripped up. And I figured after 20 years, that's a pretty good run from this boot manufacturer. So when I got back, I went to a local outfitter, Yellowwood, here in Milwaukee. Great outfitter. We'll plug them too. But I said, sell me the same boot. And they said, let's talk about this. Well, I ended up walking out with a pair of Oboz. And, and 2 years later, I love the boot. I purchased more of your boots, but it's beyond that. It's not only is it a great product, check the box. You have to have a good product, but it's once you start to endear a brand and drink the Kool-Aid, you start to learn more about that brand and what they're all about. And a lot of things you're describing are things that resonated with me, and I would imagine that's a big part of the experience a lot of your customers or your stakeholders, audiences have with you. It's about much more than a great product. It's about all the great things you stand for and how you're helping other brands and what you're all about, that you give a damn.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think the data says that if you have a great experience with a brand or a restaurant or whatever, you're like, 60-70% likely not to go back. So it's not just about making a widget. and making the widget better. So you can have empirical evidence that your widget outperformed other widgets in the marketplace because there's so many widgets now. So you've got to have people want to vote with their or have an alignment with how they spend their money. It's like giving to a nonprofit organization, giving to a PlayCleanGo, or I'm thankful to be on the board of an organization called Gallatin Valley Land Trust here that preserves open space and wildlife corridors and works through conservation easements and things like that. And like, I am voting with my time on what I believe in, and encourage the people that work alongside me and for me at Oboz to do the same thing. And I think people want to know that when they put that sticker on their cooler or water bottle or Pint or whatever it is, that they can back it sort of with their soul and not just with their dollars. And Pat Gunny has led the charge on this for a very, very long time, but a lot of brands have been catching up recently in the last 20 years as well about, what can they do to be a partner in people's lives. And people's lives aren't transactional largely. They're about things that are greater than the transaction and greater than the widget. So for us, it's very important to tell that story. We're pretty young. We're about 14 years old. So we're still trying to get that story out there and hammer it home. We stick on the One More Tree story pretty hard because it's a great one to digest, and we've been with it the entire time. But we have great other stories like PlayCleanGo, working with the CDT Coalition. As a company, we're going to try to conquer the whole CDT in the next 3 years. I mean, that's ambitious, but we want to do that because that's life on the trail, and that's who we are. So it's a moving target at all times on how you can be a better citizen. But people are demanding that now, and people are expecting you to be a good sort of citizen of the world, and we're trying as best we can.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Kurt, I was going to say we've worked with a lot of product manufacturers over the years. And Rich, to your point, in the olden days, a lot of times a partnership was, we cut them a check. We send them a check once a year, and that's about it. And we'll throw their logo on our website. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Authenticity is everything nowadays. And I think you really encapsulated that for our listeners is first you have to pick something that you believe in and you care about and you want to support. And then you have to devote time and resources. Mm-hmm. It's not just cut a check. It's going to be, we're going to participate in the organization. We're going to go to your events. We're going to support you with product. It's a lot more authentic. And I think in the long run, it's a lot more effective for your brand and for selling your products when people truly feel like you care and you believe in the mission.
Yeah, the hard part for me is I have wonderfully ambitious people that work on the marketing team and the brand team here at Oboz, and they want to do it all. They want to sponsor everything, and I get it. I do too, right? I want to be able to I wish I could spend 90% of my time doing this work. But in order to make an impact, you've got to be impactful. And so that takes headspace, and that takes dedication, that takes a plan. It takes the ability to fail in order to succeed, and be, there for not just jumping on an issue, but being part of it, and part of the conversation with people. And it's hard because you want to do so many great things, but having that discipline is part of what marketing teams need to do.
Hey, Belle and Krista, I'd like to go back to something, Belle, that you mentioned earlier, and that is, one of your challenges you said was just you've got the message, you've got the campaign, getting other people just to use it and get it out there. Don't mess with it. We've got this, right? But tell me and talk to us a little bit about how you guys came up with the campaign. I mean, how did you know it's like, yeah, this is what is going to resonate, and this is what we want to go forward with, if you wouldn't mind.
Oh, yeah, no, that's a great question. So we actually have to go back to, what year was it? 2010, around 2010. It was actually the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources that got a grant from the U.S. Forest Service to develop the campaign. So Forest Service, all kudos to them for seeing, so Minnesota wanted a campaign for the state. Forest Service also saw that this could be used across every state, across the country, internationally even. And so the brand was built to be, usable across any border and translatable to any language. And the intention of the campaign from the very beginning was that it is customizable by any local organization. So the campaign quickly grew beyond Minnesota's capacity to run it, and they started to look for a national organization to take it over. And so it was in 2014, which was before the time I joined the organization, that the stars aligned and Minnesota DNR found Naisma, and a couple years later, we officially took over the patent and campaign. So, and just a little bit more on the history. So in the development of the campaign, they very intentionally looked to community-based social marketing principles to design the campaign. And that is all about changing behavior. And one of the key components of community-based social marketing is how you look for opportunities to reinforce the message. So you're not only wanting to reinforce the message at every trailhead, whether it's a local park or a national park, but you're also looking for any and all communication channels to reinforce that message. So social media, which was just in infancy probably, when the campaign was started, to television, radio, print, everything. And so, yeah, it was very intentional design to be easily replicable, customizable, and enable ways to repeat that message throughout lots of different channels.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So June 5 to June 12 is a pretty important week that's on your calendar. PlayCleanGo Awareness Week. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about PlayCleanGo Awareness Week and what it means, the significance, and what's planned. Talk about that a little bit, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, so like you said, PlayCleanGo Awareness Week is June 5th through June 12th, very intentionally selected to be bookended by National Trails Day and National Get Outdoors Day. And it really provides all of these different organizations, from local to federal to nonprofits, an opportunity to work together and get that joint message out there of prevention through PlayCleanGo. And during that week, PlayCleanGo provides a lot of different opportunity to learn different prevention methods, no matter how you recreate outside. We have some contests that people can enter and win some of our prevention materials, like our boot brushes. We're going to really introduce our latest brand ambassador, Stewart. And Stewart is going to provide us some quick tips and tricks on how to enjoy the outdoors, and hopefully get all that engagement and delve a little bit deeper into specific invasives that you'll find across the North America, because we do have Mexico included in this year. Canabio, our Center for Biodiversity, is going to be providing some translated materials for us, which you can also find on playcleango.org on our Awareness Week page. And then our partners in Canada are providing some French translated materials for PlayCleanGo Awareness Week. This is really a great opportunity to get everybody on the same page, learning the same thing and saying the same thing. So it's a pretty exciting week.
Awesome. That's awesome. So for the average person, obviously there's a lot going on, but let's say for average Joe, average, whoever it might be, average Kurt, I'll be average. Let's make me average. So I know very little, but what would be the hope? What would be the goal for, because obviously it's like, it's obtainable goals, obtainable steps. What would you want from someone who just knows very, very little, if nothing at all, about the significance and of this topic and what it really means long term? What would you want and hope for someone after maybe a week of being exposed to PlayCleanGo Awareness Week, and maybe after that, what you'd hope for them to be, how that would change their behavior moving forward? Like, talk a little bit about that.
What I really hope to gain from PlayCleanGo Awareness Week, I want people to see all of the messaging that we get out there. I want it to resonate with them, and go to playcleango.org and delve a little bit deeper into invasive species. Why are they a problem? Where did they come from? We really touch on the highlights on that. We try not to dig down into the weeds, pun intended, too much. But when you learn a little bit more, you'll know just enough to be dangerous when you contribute to the prevention of it. And that's what PlayCleanGo really provides that user. And when you dig into this website, you'll see that we have an events calendar where we allow any and all of our partners and groups that have some volunteer opportunity events to post something to get involved with during that week and beyond. We also have a map where you can find your local boot brush station. We're working really hard with our organizations to send us their geo-referenced boot brushes. So if you're in any particular part of the country or North America, we hope that you'll be able to find a boot brush station so that you can clean your gear before and after you recreate. And we want you to take the pledge. When you take that Play Clean Go pledge, you take that extra step. You're affirming that you want to do your part to preserve all of the wonderful and beautiful habitats that we have across North America. And when you preserve, you're protecting not just that habitat for the local plant life, but you're protecting it for animals and for the future. It's just this simple step has a huge and resounding impact for the future. And taking that pledge, you'll also get a patch and a boot brush. So we'll make sure that we help you in that prevention.
Nice.
Awesome.
Cool.
You described me. I know enough to be dangerous, but I think you're right. It's kind of like that is the hope. It's like, it's like you're more aware, and that's a step in the right direction. And taking the pledge is easy. Let's just I want for people listening, this is not something where here's my social. It's easy, right? This is harmless, no pain involved. Let's just underscore that, right?
Not at all. And it's all online. You just give us your address. We'll send you free things. It's a joy.
There's no catch. There's no catch.
Hey, Rich, I have a couple questions for you, and I'm really interested in this. Is you talked about being a storyteller. I was wondering if one, you could just share with us like your approach to storytelling. Like how do you look at that, and how do you start crafting that for a brand, right? And that job in and of itself has got to be difficult. But now you're working with a lot of retailers who've got to carry your message. Talk to us about, how do you corral that and make sure that the people that you're working with still uphold that brand for you, right? And that message and that story you want to get across. So a lot there, but yeah.
Yeah, that's a heady question, but I like this. I think first and foremost you have to know who you are. And not and maybe as people, because companies are a group of humans, but mostly as a brand, you have to know. A friend of mine is a very talented architect, and he said, "My job as an architect is to turn the client upside down and have things fall out they didn't know existed." And I always liked that notion because I think the same thing about a brand, and you've got to really go in. And I've been with Oboz about 1.5 years now, and over a year of it's been COVID, which has been a little strange. But what we've tried to do is figure out who we are, who we've been, and sort of what we can authentically back up. So if I all of a sudden say, we're the shoe brand that gives you wings, first of all, Red Bull's got that, but second of all, we can't back that up. So we want to be something that's authentic to ourselves. So when we speak to it, we can speak to it with confidence when we're out on the road, driving around in our green vans, or when we're putting something at retail or selling in our product to retail. So that's the biggest thing. And for us, it was an exercise, and we've always said we're true to the trail. People said, I don't know if that really works anymore because it's a little too, it's too specific to actually a dirt, gravel, trail, mountaintop, that whole thing. And I said, we're all on a trail. I think that language is as powerful now as it could possibly ever be. And whether or not I'm walking on Pete's Hill here in Bozeman, which is sort of a local, community flat hiking trail, or I'm trying to climb, Saddle Peak here in the Bridger Range, we're all on a trail and we're all looking for things. And I think that our footwear can be a conduit in any manner of ways. So so I think that it's doing that. It's talking to the people in your business. It's talking to the people that you have partnered with your business, whether it's a nonprofit organization like PlayCleanGo, or it's your retailers that you sold into, it's your sales reps. And it's really saying, who do you really think you are and we are, and what can we back up? And then once you know that, you have a filter. So you have, you've got a filter you can shove all these ideas into. And if it makes sense, they come out the bottom. And if it passes through the filter of the brand filter of, for us, it's true to the trail. And can we tie it back to that authentically? So, for example, I don't know exactly, I apologize when this will air, but we have a Father's Day piece coming up, Father's Day, June 20th. And we went to the great state of Wisconsin, as I was saying earlier, to a town called Arcadia, Wisconsin, in a store called Bawick Shoes. It's been around about 40 years, old school mom and pop shoe store.
Yeah.
And beautiful place, awesome people, deer mounts on the walls, it's total Wisco. I loved it. And it turns out the guy who started it, Glenn Bawick, has purchased several pieces of land and planted somewhere in the notion of 60,000 trees by hand. So to me, it was like, you put that in the filter and it comes out pretty easily, because it's people that believe in the power of footwear, power of sit and fit, and bringing out the branding device and finding out how you can have a better experience when you're out on the trail, wherever that trail leads you, and someone who believes in the power of trees. And for us, it was like, wow, that's a no-brainer. So going and telling, I believe you tell sort of your story through other people's stories, that oftentimes it's more powerful than it is saying, hi, I'm Rich and this is who I am and I work here, or founder stories. I think aligning yourself with real life people that are doing things that we can all relate to is a great way to tell your own story. So it's a long-winded, to make a long story. Yeah.
It's a great answer.
So I guess to start wrapping up a little bit, final words from our guests. And Rich, I guess we'll start with you, and then I want to wrap up with Team PlayCleanGo, and I want to wrap up with them. Any final words from you, Rich, before we put a period on this and on this conversation?
Yeah, I think the takeaway for me in this whole conversation is that small actions of kindness can go a long way. And whether or not it's how you interface with someone in your personal life or out on the trail or in the park, or it's grabbing a brush and brushing your shoes at the end of the day. Think about that as an act of kindness. We just come out of COVID where an act of kindness was wearing a mask. And some people that was an affront, but most people said, okay, I can do that. And these are small sacrifices to help us make a world that's better incrementally, and that can lead to greater change. And so I would just encourage people to think about it and think, oh, I could put underneath my seat or in my backpack a brush if you want to. I bet they could even send you two, or I'll send you one. But I think just those small acts are awesome, and I would encourage people to feel the empowerment of doing those small acts of kindness on a more routine basis, and they really can add up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, Krista, Belle, final words from you.
Oh, I'll just jump in and say, Rich, I love that answer. And compassion is one of my number one values. One of my education.
No, Wi-Fi.
What do we hope people do at PlayCleanGo Awareness Week during the week? And in addition to coming and taking the pledge on our website and just getting more aware, I guess I also hope that they find our store and find some more educational tools to educate themselves, and like pick up some of these watch out cards that Krista designed with USDA APHIS support. They're fantastic. And, learn more about what is it we're talking about? What is this problem? And, or, pick up a brute brush, pick up 10, give some to your friends and family. So compassion is, like you said, I love that compassion, ethic and value, and education. Yeah, come and educate yourself and find out ways that you can educate others too.
This was great. This was awesome. I want to thank everyone for their time today. And, sometimes you don't know what you're going to step into. And I think today exceeded what we were hoping. From Oboz standpoint, Rich, it was great to hear your story. It was great meeting you. We like your brand a lot, and it's nice that the touch point we had with you delivered on the experience we've had with the brand so far. So that's always a good thing. So thank you very much for your time and for what you do for Oboz. It's some great stuff going on out in Montana with what you're doing. And Belle and Krista, thank you. It was good to have you on the podcast. Great to hear more about PlayCleanGo Awareness Week and the great things that you are all doing. June 5 to June 12. We encourage everyone to go to the website to learn more. We will post it. And Krista, before we exit, can you do us a favor? And this will be the final thing. Let's talk about Stu briefly. 30 seconds. This is important.
So Stuart is our latest PlayCleanGo ambassador that we had a huge campaign for our followers to help us name Stuart and introduce him. And he's joined PlayCleanGo to help us spread awareness and the word of prevention. And if anyone knows how to do that, it's a member of the Bigfoot family. And available by the end of this week is going to be our new Stu t-shirts.
That's sweet.
Love it.
Awesome.
On that note, cheers to all of you.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time. And this was fun. Cheers.
Thank you
Cheers.
very
Thank
much.
you, guys.
Thank you, everybody.
It was a pleasure.
Plancha.